Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, today we will discuss the eczematous disorders of skin. Eczema, ठीक है? Eczema is a Greek word derived from a Greek word which means to boil, and how it is defined, that it is the inflammation of the skin which is characterized by itching, soreness, and clinically erythema, dryness, excoriation, exudation, fissuring, hyperkeratosis, and when the lesion become chronic, there is lichenification and scaling. Vesiculation is a part of acute. How will we classify the eczema? It could be exogenous and endogenous. Exogenous means the eczema which have an environmental or external factor in its pathogenesis, and endogenous means there are some changes in the body of human being that cause this type of eczema. There are some examples of exogenous eczema and endogenous eczema. I have included in this list the most common variety which you will see in your OPDs during your visit to skin department and in the ward patients. In exogenous we have allergic contact dermatitis, dermatophytid, polymorphic light eruption, infective dermatitis, irritant, photoallergic contact, and post-traumatic. After the trauma you can have a eczema. Eczema is also called dermatitis. The two terms are the same. There is some difference, but at your stage you need not to remember that difference. You just remember that the eczema is same as the dermatitis. Now the some variety of endogenous eczema which are also very common. Atopic eczema. This mostly occurs in children. Asteatotic, this occurs in old people. Hand eczema, juvenile plantar dermatosis, pityriasis alba, seborrheic eczema, venous eczema, and the eczema which is associated with many systemic skin diseases. And one of the common eczema is that nummular or discoid eczema. Now we will discuss some of the features of these eczemas one by one. Now this is a clinical picture of eczema. The first picture will show you vesiculation, erythema, oozing. Weeping is a word which is used for weeping, like the skin lesion weeps. So it was used before for eczema, weeping, exudation, crusting, and the next lesion is chronic lesion which is having fissures, crusting, and scaling. Eczema can be clinically divided into acute, subacute, and chronic eczema. Regarding the histopathological features, these are two different variety of histopathological features, some epidermal changes and then the dermal changes. In epidermis, what you will find, number one is the epidermal spongiosis. Spongiosis means the collection of edema fluid in the epidermis. You can see there is a large space in the epidermis, and in this space you have the lymphohistiocytic infiltrate, which is a feature of inflammation. The epidermal layers, they become thickened. Normally there are 2 to 5 layers of the epidermis keratinocyte, but now you can see these layers are increased in number. And there is hyperkeratosis. The keratin layer is also thickened, and in the dermis you see there is lymphohistiocytic infiltrate. The same you see there is edema in between the epidermal cells. The water doesn't take any stain, so you see the empty spaces in the epidermis. These are not normally seen in the epidermis. So now First of all, we'll discuss the nummular or discoid eczema. Asteototic eczema, asteototic eczema, it means the eczema without water. Without water, I mean that it is due to the dry skin. In the elderly patient, the skin is usually dry. They lost the moisture over their skin due to the age factor. The skin becomes dry. So this type of eczema usually present in the elderly patients. The legs over it, it is present on the legs of the patient. It is very chronic condition. Sometimes it may associated with other types of diseases, and it has, as I've told you, it is due to the low humidity in the environment. If the old people, they are inside the room, inside a centrally heated room for longer periods of time, their skin become dry and they can present with this type of eczema, asteototic hand eczema. Hand eczema is very common because, as you all know, the hands, we use the hand all the time with different work, for different type of work. जिस तरह एक सीमेंट वर्कर है, या आप ये कह लें हाउस वाइफ है जिसने हर वक्त पानी और साबुन से जो है वो आपके बर्तन धोने हैं, कपड़े धोने हैं, तो वो डिफरेंट केमिकल्स के साथ एसोसिएट एक्सपोज है. इस वजह से हैंड एक्जिमा उनमें बहुत ज़्यादा कॉमन है. इसलिए सीमेंट वर्कर्स में ये सारे हमारे जो मज़दूर हैं और ये मेसनर्स हैं, इन सब में ये एक्जिमा ड्यू टू cement, it's very common. So this is a type of hand eczema. First slide is of eczema of chronic. In chronic you see the scaling. Scales are the dried part of the skin, and there is fissuring. Fissuring means these lines you can see. When the eczema become chronic, there is fissuring, the lines, the horizontal and vertical lines, deep lines. Sometimes these lines are, as you know, the skin is a barrier. So when the barrier is broken, there is a risk, always a risk of superadded infection. This is an acute eczema in which there is vesiculation, this bulla formation, redness, erythema, exudation. This is a form of acute eczema. Now, another type of eczema, infective eczema. Infective eczema means that the cause is not the eczema. Cause is some infection, maybe staphylococcal infection, maybe streptococcal, maybe pseudomonas, maybe fungal infection, any type of cutaneous infection which secondarily lead to eczema, that infection. So this was the patient, it was having a scabies, and this is a super added infection on the scabies lesion. So you can see the lesion is wet. This is subacute type of eczema. The lesion is wet, there is crusting, there is erythema, erosion. Erosion means the separation of the superficial layer of the skin, and ulcer is the separation of the deeper layer, dermis of the skin. Now this is a slide of a child who's having pityriasis alba. Pityriasis means scaling. There is mild scaling on the face of this child, and you can see there is white spots. Usually आम लोग ज़बान में ये कहते हैं कि जी कैल्शियम की कमी है, लेकिन actually technically these are not due to the deficiency of calcium. These are due to a disease, unknown etiology, but it is classified as eczema, and alba means white. So white scaling. These are white patches on the cheek of this child, and we call it pityriasis alba. Before, now we come to the erythroderma. Erythroderma is the inflammatory skin disease that affect more than 90% of the body surface area. If you have dermatitis or eczema more than 90% of the body surface area, then it is called erythroderma. Now, what are the causes of erythroderma? Eczema. It's the most important cause. Any type of eczema can lead to erythroderma. Psoriasis, lymphoma, leukemia, drugs, many hereditary disorders, an autoimmune bullous disorder which is called pemphigus foliaceus, other skin diseases like LP, dermatophytosis means fungal infection by the dermatophytes, crusted scabies, it's one of the type of severe form of scabies in immunocompromised patient. If they present to you with a full body erythroderma with crusting, you can also keep the crusted scabies in your diagnosis. Dermatomyositis. It is a autoimmune inflammatory disease of the skin and muscles. In this, a patient can present to you as erythroderma. And many of the erythrodermic patients are due to unknown cause. We don't know the cause. What is the cause of erythroderma? Now you can see scaling and redness of the whole body. More than 90% of the body surface area, you can call it erythroderma. Now, previously I have discussed with you the exogenous causes of the eczema. Now some of the endogenous causes of eczema. One of them is seborrheic dermatitis. Seborrheic dermatitis is the common relapsing dermatitis with erythematous patches with superficial scaling. It is very common disease. Many of you have this disease in your adult life. So, in this type of eczema, what is the cause of this eczema? It is due to the the next slide आ गई है. Seborrheic eczema की cause क्या है कि उसमें आपके जो sebaceous glands हैं, they are more active. They produce sebum under the control of androgens. When the sebum is produced more, then it stays on the skin surface and it irritates the skin, and this causes the skin inflammation. So it is called seborrheic dermatitis, and it occurs on all those body surface area where the sebaceous glands are more, like scalp, like nasolabial fold, our ears, front of the chest, neck, back, all these areas are seborrheic areas. One of the most important eczema is atopic eczema or atopic dermatitis. It is an itchy, chronically relapsing, inflammatory skin condition, and it often starts in the early childhood. You can see a child with exudation, erythema on the face, on the cheeks of this child, lesion. This is a chronic lesion with crusting on the skin, erythematous crusted lesion. Sometimes secondary infection is very common, as I have told you before, that due to eczema the skin barrier is destroyed, so the chances of infection are more in these patients. This is the back of the knee joint of a patient with erythema, excoriation, crusting. This is also a feature of atopic eczema. Now, how you will diagnose a case of atopic eczema? Not every patient coming to you with eczema, not every child you can diagnose it as an atopic eczema. There is a definite criteria which is called Hannifin and Rajka's diagnostic criteria, by which you can diagnose a case of. It is a clinical diagnosis. Number one major criteria is called an itchy skin condition. If a child has itchy skin condition as a major criteria, and if a patient is having 3 or more of these 5 signs and symptoms, then you can diagnose it as a case of atopic eczema. Number one, the disease starts below the age of 2. There is history of skin crease involvement. What is skin crease? These are the flexures of the skin. You have major flexures and you have minor flexures. Major flexures are axilla and the crural area, intergluteal area, and the minor criteria are the antecubital and popliteal fossa. They are minor creases. So any of these creases, if they are involved, then we can call it atopic eczema. If the child is having dry skin, if the patient is having his own or his family member, first degree relative family member history of atopy. Atopy means if he has history of asthma, history of atopic dermatitis or hay fever, then it is, or allergic rhinitis, then we can say that this child can have atopic eczema. And if you see, first of all, when there is history of skin crease involvement, and then if there is a visible flexural involvement, you see that the patient is having erythema, exudation, and all the signs of eczema on the flexors, major or minor flexors, then you can, this is one of the criteria of Hannifin and Rajkar diagnostic criteria. Now we come to allergic contact dermatitis. Allergic. Allergic means, it's a Greek word. It is derived from allos and ergon, which meaning different work. It means when you do something different, then something different happens to you. So allergic contact dermatitis means anything which comes in contact with your skin surface for longer times, it can cause allergic contact dermatitis. There are two types of contact dermatitis, allergic and irritant. The difference between the two is that any irritant to cause dermatitis, it should come in contact with a shorter duration, and for allergic there is you need to have a prior sensitization with that material, and after that 2 to 3 weeks after, if you are again exposed to that material, you develop allergic contact dermatitis, and allergic can be disseminated throughout the body. But the irritant contact dermatitis, it does not need any prior sensitization. It is only present on those areas of the skin which come in contact with any irritant. It will not spread along the margin of the, not spread along the outside the margin of the irritant which is applied to the skin or which comes in contact with the skin. So now the difference between irritant and allergic contact dermatitis are clear, I think. Now we'll go next slide. Now some of the examples of allergic contact dermatitis. Garlic allergy. Many females, housewives will come to you when you are sitting in an OPD department, whether in the skin or the general OPD, they will come with you with this type of allergy. The garlic is causing allergy to your skin. Hair dye allergy. If you apply a hair dye, then you can have this type of condition in which the eyes of this patient are swollen, there is erythema, there is inflammation, and you can see this type of allergy. The treatment of this allergy is the complete avoidance of hair dye, because all the hair dyes, they contain PPD, which is a chemical which cause hair dye allergy. In this patient, he has put some belongings, he has put some things in his pocket, and those things which have nickel in them, they cause this type of allergy. Nickel allergy is also very common. This is another example of nickel allergy. In this metal stud of this jeans of this boy is having nickel. Nickel is very notorious for causing allergy to the skin, and it is the most important cause of allergic contact dermatitis. Again, the skin is irritated, there is erythema, oozing, vesicle formation, erosions. Another case in which you have allergy due to fragrance. The fragrance has many chemicals which cause allergy. This is allergy to many cosmetics. The females usually apply more cosmetics on their face, and they will come to you with this type of allergy. So it is my advice to my students, young females, that just don't apply many different types of and substandard makeup on your face. You will have the allergy on your face. Dettol. It's now very common to have Dettol, to use a Dettol as a normal routine thing in the household uses. Many people, they say, वो जी हम डिटॉल के पानी से नहाते हैं, वो जी हमने डिटॉल यहाँ रखा है, डिटॉल से ये करते हैं, डिटॉल. तो डिटॉल कैन कॉज allergy, and this patient was used to use Dettol for his washing his feet. So this is a chronic type of allergy which has developed. This is allergy developed due to the gloves. It is commonly called latex allergy. The material in the gloves, it can also cause the allergy. Elastic allergy. You can see the areas where the elastic of the undergarment comes into contact with the skin. It causes erythema and itching, and it can also cause vesiculation, crusting and scaling, like lichenification. If the patient doesn't avoid that elastic undergarment, it can lead to lichenification, chronic. Now, textile dermatitis. In textile, there are many artificial things are used for making our clothing. The dyes, the different materials we can use. The industry which form the clothing, they use them, and these can cause textile dermatitis. The areas are shown in this picture. which are most commonly affected by the dyes, because the textile, because there is occlusion and the material of the clothing or textile, it comes into contact with these areas for longer period of time. That's why the allergen, they stay there, and then patient develops eczema or dermatitis on these areas. One of the very common allergy is called shoe allergy. Many chemicals are used in making different types of shoes. So the you can say the different materials, like to make them beautiful, these are used. So these cause allergic dermatitis, like this case, patch testing. Now how will we know that it is allergy due to contact dermatitis? We can have many allergens which are put into small quantities into these small boxes, and they are attached on the back of this patient with the help of tape for 2 to 3 days, and then we'll note the allergens. Like in this case, now we'll come to the irritant contact dermatitis. As I've told you earlier, that irritant are those chemicals or substances, they cause contact dermatitis instantaneously with their exposure to the skin. These irritants, they are common irritants are, number one is water. Water is very irritant to the skin if we very frequently wash our skin with water. Household cleaners like soap, shampoos, they also cause irritant contact dermatitis. Alkalis, in alkalis the most common irritant is cement, acids, certain plants, raw food, and animals. Raw food example is the garlic dermatitis. I have shown you the picture. Animal secretions. It's very common in the rainy seasons. Patient come to you with a irritant insect bite reaction or insect contact dermatitis. When the insect or its secretions come into contact with your skin, it can cause contact dermatitis. Now you can see now these pictures, they are due to the effect of irritants on the effect of soaps, detergents on the hand. The finger webs, in finger webs the soap come in contact in larger quantities, and you do not wash between the fingers, so it is advisable to wash the hands properly to remove that soap from the interdigital spaces or detergent promptly, so that irritant contact dermatitis doesn't develop. So you see, this is the patient of cement worker, and he has also irritant contact dermatitis. Now the treatment of eczema. Treatment is prevention of the cause. If you know, if it is an exogenous eczema and even endogenous eczema. Endogenous eczema can become worse with any exogenous cause, so you avoid that cause, environmental cause or any other cause, external cause, you avoid them. Then you, which is the most important part of your treatment, then you can apply mild topical steroid creams. They will relieve the signs of inflammation. As you all know, the steroids are anti-inflammatory, so you can apply topical steroids for maybe 1 to 2 weeks. If the condition condition is worse and it is not responding to steroids topical, then you can also give a short course of oral steroids. And you can also, if the eczema is chronic and it is not improving with a short course of steroids, then you can also give immunosuppressive drugs like methotrexate and Anurin. And these drugs have certain protocols. You can give them in case of chronic eczema for longer duration of time. And this is the end of our lecture for today, and